Hello, my amazing students. This is Mrs. A, and we are doing 7.2 today. And 7.2 is factoring trinomials. Okay, so when we're thinking of our little factoring flow chart, remember 7.1, which we've already done, is talking about greatest common factors and factoring by grouping, which we do when we have 4 terms, 6 terms, more terms. And we covered those last time. So now 7.2 is factoring trinomials. And we're going to talk mainly of 2 different ways to factor trinomials. And that is the AC method and factoring by trial and error. Okay, so I'm going to do the first few with both methods so that you can see both of them done. And the first one that we're going to do is one of our simpler trinomials because it only has a y squared on the front, okay? So y squared, we know, is going to factor y and y. Remember, factoring is just unfoiling something, okay? So basically, we're trying to go back to the factors that will produce y squared plus 8y plus 15 when we multiply them together. So if I'm going to use, I'll do trial and error first. I'm just going to put y and y, okay, because these first two, when multiplied, will always give me the first term of the trinomial. Now my signs are always talking to me. Remember, I have a positive sign on the last term, which means that both of my signs here and here are the same sign. And then because the middle term is also positive, that means that I have 2 positive signs, and I'm done with that. So then I look at the 15, and remember, these 2 must multiply to 15, but add to 8, okay? So 15 is just 15 and 1, or 5 and 3 multiplied together. 5 and 3 is obviously going to be the one that's going to add to 8, so 5 and 3 will add to the 8. Okay, so we have it factored. Now, if we were going to do this same one using the AC method, we would have to split up the middle term. Okay, so basically we would be looking for the A times the C, which is just 15. So we're looking for 2 numbers whose product is 15, but who add to 8. And then I would split up the 8, and I would end up with y squared plus 3 and 3y plus 5y plus 15. Okay, so basically I split a trinomial, and I take that middle term, the 8y, and I split it into 2 parts. So my trinomial becomes 4 terms. And then I factor by grouping. Out of these first 2, I can pull out a y. And I'm left with a y plus 3. Out of the second 2, I can pull out a 5. And I'm left with a y plus 3. Okay, so then I pull the y plus 3 to the front, okay, and I'm left with y plus 5. So y plus 3 would be to the front, y plus 5 to the back. Okay, so let's look at the next one. And we're doing t squared plus 12t plus 20. All right, and again, let's do t and t, since I only have a t squared at the front. And then I've got 20, which could be 20 times 1, or 2 times 10, or 4 times 5. Those are my factors to 20. And then I'm looking, since I have a positive and a positive, I have same sign, both positive. And then the last thing I do is pick which one of these is going to give me a sum of 12. So I look for a sum of 12, and it would be 10 and 2. So 10 and 2. And when I FOIL that together, I end up with a 10t, and a 2t gives me the 12t, but 10 times 2 gives me 20. So I wind up with it factored, okay? If I were going to do the same thing with the AC method, I would take t squared plus, and then I've got the 20 over here. I've got to split the 12t. It's got to have a product of 20, but a sum of 12t, which is going to be 10t and 2, okay, t. And, all right, this will work. So I'm going to pull out a t here and get t plus 10. And I'm going to pull out a 2 and get t plus 10. So then when I factor out the t plus 10, the remaining factor is t plus 2. And I go right back there to what I just did before. Okay, so